What is up, Montana sports fans? You've just stepped into Wide Left Sports, where the stories are real, the passion is loud, and the athletes come first. This isn't just another sports show. This is Montana. Small towns, big dreams, long nights, early mornings, and people who flat out love the game. From Friday night lights to summer ball under the sun, from gym floors to turf fields. If it matters here, we're talking about it. Today's episode is another chance to give Montana athletes the mic and let them tell their story the right way. So settle in, turn it up, and get ready, because this is Wide Left Sports. But first, here's a word from our sponsors. Wide Left Sports is proudly sponsored by TDS Fiber, bringing fast, reliable internet to Billings and beyond. Whether you're streaming the big game, uploading content, or just trying to keep the whole house connected, TDS Fiber delivers the speed you need without the lag. Check availability in your neighborhood and make the switch today. TDS Fiber, internet built for real life. Hello, welcome to Wide Left Sports. Today I am joined by our February Beast of the Month, Kiki Lone Bear. Kiki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, my first question is kind of the same to a lot of the athletes that I'm on, but what made you first fall in love with basketball?
I've kind of just grown up in a basketball family. Both my parents played in college, and I really take from my older brothers who taught me a lot, and I've trained with them a lot. So just being around the sport a lot when I was a kid, and now it's just translated to my high school years and hopefully college.
I love that. So, obviously, growing up in a basketball family, you just kind of were born with it, like you said. So, who was the first person to put a ball in your hands?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably my dad. My dad's
I love,
definitely helped me a lot with my development and just getting into the sport.
I love that. So, then what do you remember about your first organized game?
Um, I was in kindergarten and we had this little league for the school, so it was just kind of, they kind of sort you randomly and you go out there and you just kind of have fun. I don't remember too much, but I remember it was a lot of fun, a lot of running.
That's awesome. So, then growing up, did you always see yourself becoming a varsity player for Skyview?
Oh, most definitely. That was one of my biggest goals. Just throughout watching my older brother play up here at Skyview, it really just motivated me to try and be my best as a younger kid coming into the program so I could play at the varsity level.
I love that. So, then, obviously, growing up, a lot of athletes play multiple sports. So, were you one of those kids that, played multiple sports? And then what made basketball stick for you?
Um, yeah, I played softball, track, a little bit of volleyball, but basketball, I just love the tempo. I love how it gives you back everything that you put into it. If you work really hard, you're gonna get results. And I think that's just what made me love it so much.
I love that. So, now let's transition to your team this year over there at Skyview. So, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but my first question is what does it mean for you to wear that Skyview uniform and get to go out and perform for the Heights community there?
Oh, it means a lot. My coach, he's definitely helped me through a lot, and so have my team. I've been playing with some of these girls for 3 years now, and it's really just a family. So it means a lot
I,
that I get to wear the color blue and play out there with them.
I love that. And so I've had the opportunity to have Coach Chase on the podcast and get to talk to him about Skyview basketball. But what does it mean to have him as your coach and, get to learn from him these last 3 years and then, of course, your senior year next year as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of my development. Coming in as a freshman and trusting me to be playing at the varsity level, he didn't even let me play one game as JV, even though I asked him a few times. But he just has a lot of trust in me still, and he's helped me as I'm getting older, develop my game, my mindset, and become a leader.
I love that. So you kind of lead me into another question being thrown into the fire per se of a freshman, on the varsity team over there at Skyview. What was that like for you to really just be thrown into it right away?
It was definitely like, it wasn't any pressure, I'd say. It was definitely just like a learning experience, and everyone really helped me through it. Brianna, Ray, all of the seniors we had that year. They really just loved me, even though I was young, but they knew I could still play the game just as well at that level.
I love that. And so, you talked about Brianna, and I've been her on the podcast a couple of times, and there's just a bunch of really great basketball players that have come from Skyview. And so, what does it mean for you to have your name among those really great players that have come from Skyview?
It means a lot because a lot of them are older than me, and I've watched them. I look up to them, and I still follow them today through their college teams. So it's just fun to watch where they've come from, and I'm kind of going in the same direction.
That's awesome. And so, how has your role evolved on the team? Obviously this year you're one of the main players, but how has your role evolved in the last 3 years?
Yeah, well, starting out as a freshman, it's kind of you have a lot of upperclassmen. You come in to give them a break a little bit, but you still have to just try your best. So I'd say as a freshman, I was kind of just a role player coming off the bench, making a few plays here and there, but I didn't have to do it all or, do too much. I just had to help contribute to the team, do my best in practice. And then obviously last year I had to step up a little bit more with Brianna gone, but we still had quite a few leaders, so it wasn't just something that I had to take over yet. But last year definitely led me into this year, kind of taking over and being the team leader. You know, I really believe in my team now and I trust them a lot. So just being able to learn from my my mentors and come into that role myself.
That's awesome. So then how would you describe the team chemistry this year, with you guys being a younger group? And how would you describe that team chemistry?
Um, yeah, we have a lot of returners from that state championship year. I think there's like 4 or 5 of us, so we obviously have great chemistry. And then just adding on, we've had a few transfers, a few girls that came up from younger teams, and just, having fun on and off the court together. It really evolves to how you play in the game. The cool passes and the cool plays that just roots from playing together for so long, and also just, off the court having a lot of fun together.
I love that. So, when you're talking about basketball, there could be some size differences in height when it comes to teams. And so, Skyview is a little bit on the smaller side when it comes to height. So, how do you guys game plan for that when you're playing a team that is taller?
Um, I feel like we're just as physical as a lot of the teams. So when we do have the small lineup, because I think Riley's our tallest player, she's 6 foot. So when she comes out of the game, just being able to be in help side if we do have that taller person, and really boxing out, getting the rebound. But being undersized isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, no, for sure. And then for you personally, because I went to your guys' game against West, and West has, I think, a couple of 6'3" girls. And so you were playing center against them. And then, when you did have your bigger lineup in, you were more of a wing player. So what difference for you is that when you're playing those different positions?
Yeah, just being able to step up to different spots. Basketball is such an all-around game. Especially when you're undersized, you have to be able to take on like the bigger girls and be more physical. Just have more of a presence inside. But it's definitely fun to be able to, be able to go into different positions and play the big when I need to, play a guard when I need to.
For sure. So then, what has been your favorite moment so far this year?
Mhm. I think when we played West up at on the hill, we took them down to like the last quarter, the last few minutes, and that was probably one of the funnest games. Even though we didn't win, we still put through that fight, and I feel like we kind of showed that we can play with those better teams or the teams that are projected to be better.
I love that. So then, talk about those crosstown rivalries. Obviously, Weston Skyview is pretty big in basketball, and then you have obviously senior as well in town, and then you have the A schools you guys play every once in a while as well. So, what is it like to have all of those different crosstowns that you can play right here?
Yeah, I think Crosstown is one of the funnest games of the year. It's just the environment, and you know the girls that you're playing against. You play against them all the time, and the fans that come out to support the student sections. It's really a different type of feel. So being able to experience it, especially in double A, is really cool.
For sure. And then obviously playing up there on the hill at Skyview, it's a different atmosphere. I mean, I've been in that gym and it gets rocking. So, what is it like to be in that gym and be able to have those crosstown games, but really any game in those gyms?
Yeah, um, I've definitely gotten used to the playing in the atmosphere here. We do have a lot of fans show up just to come and support. You go to other schools and you see they don't really come out for their girls' games as much, so it's nice to know that our community loves us still. But I honestly grew up in this gym watching my older brothers here, so it's really just really special to me to be able to play at Skyview.
For sure. So, you guys have a pretty big game on Thursday against CMR to play into state, if I'm not mistaken. So, what is your guys' mindset going into that game?
Oh, we 100% believe that we're the best team going into the game. We're practicing like we are. We just have the killer mentality like win or go home. This is what we've been waiting for all season. We've had other games leading up to it where that's our main focus, but it really adds up to going up there on Thursday and just winning, being able to go to the state tournament and work for what we've worked for all season.
And then I'm going to predict the future and say that you win the game on Thursday. So, how cool will it be to have a state tournament that's at your home, up in the heights, at the Metro?
I think it'll be awesome. I love the Metro. I love the atmosphere. There's a lot of seats in there and it can get really packed and really loud. So I think I also love watching other people play at the Metro. So I would like to see myself in that role, kind of playing on that court and having people watch me show up and show out.
For sure. So, I watched your game at West, and you you made some shots that I'm not sure how anybody can make them. Your bank threes that you're kind of known for making. And so, how did you get good at those to where I'm not going to say you're automatic, but it's pretty automatic that you make it in?
Yeah, I mean, I practice those shots all the time. I have my dad contest me, so it's more game like and just all the repetitions, like going to the gym, playing against maybe boys, so I get a different time feel on it. And, those deep shots, you really just got to practice them to make them. And I do that a lot.
That is so awesome. So, what about your game? Or I guess how would you describe your game to somebody that has never seen you play before and has never got to witness those things or get to witness you, just being a bulldog on defense? What are how would you describe your game?
Um, I'd say I have a pretty overall game. I mean, different people who watch me can say different things, but to myself, I'm an overall all around player. I play defense, I rebound, I can make the easy pass, the hard pass, and I can score when I need to. I think a misconception is, like I only want to shoot the ball, shoot the three, score. But if you do put me into the role of, we have a scorer, we have what we need, I'd be happy to just go in, clean up some stuff. But I definitely describe my game as, all around. I'm definitely not the tallest girl in the gym, but I'd say my size isn't anything that is bad. I mean, I'd say 5'10". I can play the post, the four. I can shoot the
Yeah.
ball, bring it up when I need to. So yeah, definitely just a overall player.
Awesome. So then what would you say is the strongest part of your game right now?
Mhm. Right now, probably shooting the three ball. Right now, just looking at my season overall, I've had a few games where I've just went off from the three. And then, but this year I've definitely gotten better at getting downhill, getting to the rim, you know, because I've just had more experience, more games. So just I've gotten a little bit better in the scoring column.
Awesome. So then what is one area that you've really worked on? Obviously, you just said that you've worked on your overall scoring, but what is one area that you really worked on this last off season?
Defense. I've been working on getting my feet a little bit faster and just being able to read the defense a little bit, be backside. We have AAU, so we really stress like win your matchup and all that stuff. But obviously, coming into the season, we do play 2-3 a lot. So just being able to have my presence known in that defense and get those little steals when I can.
I love that. So watching you at that West game, you were a vocal leader. You were kind of, orchestrating where people went and things like that as much as you can in your role. So do you see yourself as the vocal leader, or are you kind of more that someone that leads by example?
Mm, yeah, definitely. I'd give my teammates a lot of feedback. If I see something that they could be doing, a pick and roll different, I just tell them, to basically not what to do, but kind of like, what would make them more successful. But I think when I start going too, they definitely follow when I'm kind of on a roll. So
So a little bit both. That I think is the best way to do it. For sure. So obviously, to get good at any sport, there's a lot of off-season work that goes into it. And so, what does your off-season look like when you're not playing the high school season of basketball?
yeah, so I travel with the Northwest Blazers Montana. So I play with a lot of girls around the state and just go to different circuits. We play the Under Armour circuit this past year, so I'll probably be doing that again. And I also go to a lot of Native American tournaments. Just hop on a team and go have fun down there, get some reps in. It's not necessarily serious or like colleges aren't necessarily scouting you, but it's definitely a good way to play some new teams, some other Native competition, and then just on the days when I'm not out there getting into the gym, working with my dad, hitting the weight room, just all of it.
That's so awesome. So, obviously AAU and high school ball are a little bit different in their styles. So how do you think that AAU has helped you in high school, and the other way around? How do you think high school has helped you in AAU?
Yeah, AU is definitely how I play with high level players in AU, and we're all, we all can score 30 on a given night if we have our own team, but just being able to work together and all be leaders and playing at a faster pace, playing against better competition, just getting a little bit more reps in comes into high school basketball, the floor a little better, the right passes to make because you're also learning from your teammates when you
Right.
do have better teammates. And then, playing high school basketball, I get a lot of reps. I mean, we have girls coming up, but they're not automatic. Like, they're not all going to play high school or college basketball. So it's coming up and stepping up into that role. And then just learning being one of the main offensive defensive players in high school basketball translates to AAU just overall, just making you be a better player. But you definitely a little bit more selfish in high school basketball, a little bit less selfish in AAU.
That makes sense. So, with the Northwest Blazers, I know you guys are a mix of the whole state. And so, how do you mesh together as a team when you're coming from like you in Billings, and then there may be a kid from Great Falls, a kid from Missoula? How do you guys mix as a team?
Yeah, so our team, quite a few of us have been playing together for since we were like sixth graders, seventh graders. So we've already started kind of getting some chemistry, but coming in from different places and not being able to practice the whole time isn't easy. But we all play basketball. We all just try to play our best, and then just like knowing our role. We might come in the first tournament and play different than we do the second tournament. So whoever's on, give them the ball and just play basketball. I don't know. It's just really fun to play AAU.
I love that. So, where is your favorite place you've gotten to play for AAU, and then where's your favorite place to play in state as well?
Yeah, we took a trip up to Virginia Beach one of these
Oh
summers,
wow.
and it was a really fun tournament. I think it was my eighth grade year, but yeah, that was probably my favorite place to travel. And I definitely like my home court, but if I had to pick another one, um, that's a hard one. I definitely liked playing in Bozeman at Bozeman High. I think I've
Okay.
had a few good games there, and it's a cool atmosphere.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So, as you kind of look ahead, you're coming towards the end of your junior year, which is when a lot of people start to look at colleges. And so, what does your recruitment process kind of look like so far?
Yeah, I've just been kind of sending out film to schools, reaching out. I've had a few reach out to me, but it's nothing too crazy yet. I think my off season I'll definitely have to put a lot of work in to get some recruitment going.
For sure, for sure. And then, my last couple of questions here. As or I guess, how do you want people to remember you at Skyview? 10 years, 20 years down the line for what you've done for the basketball program.
Um, what do I want them to remember me as? Definitely just one of those players that was fun to watch. They would come to the games and I would never really disappoint or just like, at least remembering something about my game that stood out, whether it be my shooting, passes, just my overall game. And I also want to try and get another state championship up on there so they can also remember me by that. But
That is awesome. And then, a really cool thing that I've noticed going to a lot of games is there are always a lot of young kids that are at all games. And so if a young girl looks up to you and wants to be the next Kiki Lone Bear at Skyview, what is your advice to her?
hmm, my advice to her would definitely be, you know, keep your mindset right. A lot of people get in their head basketball's a hard sport. You're not going to make everything. You just, you might miss five in a row, but you just got to think the next five are going in. And, you know, just be confident in your game. Go to the gym, get that work in so you can get that confidence up and just, have your own style of play. Don't really focus on someone else too much or how someone else is doing better than you.
Awesome. Well, Kiki, I want to congratulate you again on being the February Beast of the Month for Wide Left Sports. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck for your playoff game. And then I'm going to say it, best of luck at state, because I hope you're going to win on Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Wide Left Sports. If you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and keep spreading the word. Because this platform grows when Montana sports fans show up for other Montana athletes. These stories matter, the work matters, and the passion around sports in this state is something truly special. Huge thank you to our sponsors for helping us make this possible, and thank you for listening, supporting, and riding with us. We've got more conversations coming, more athletes to highlight, and more Montana stories to tell. Until next time, keep supporting local sports, keep cheering loud, and keep it right here with Wide Left Sports.